Hey, what's up my friends? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Victor and I help people navigate through their awakening process. Today I'm going to talk about feeling alone and just really, I'm going to answer this person's question, so I'll kind of put it in her words for you. She expressed this nicely, something that we all go through and can relate with, and I'll be happy to touch on because I've been through it and overcome it, and I'll be happy to share my thoughts on it. This is from Tannis from Instagram. She says, Victor, I hope you are doing well. I know you get a lot of these, but I have to give it a try and ask. Do you ever just feel so lost and confused about your place in the world? In your relationships, in the way human beings are, and how you truly know that you are different? How do you navigate your way through that? So she feels alone and different and lost, doesn't know her place in the world. Gee, I can relate to that. I don't know about you. And so I have found that for a lot of people, the awakening in the beginning comes on very strong. And there's a time where you feel like everything is just not making sense. Like her, she feels like, I don't know who I am anymore. All the things I used to like doing, I just don't have interest in. Things that I was so passionate about, all of a sudden I just don't care. I could care less. And I don't fit in with my family or my friends or my coworkers. I don't even like my job. I don't like where I live. And yet there's that, I don't know what I do like. I don't know who I am. I don't know where I belong. So I feel lost and just confused. I just don't know my, I once thought I had my place in the world. And everything seemed so fixed in a sense. Now I'm seeing how that was all kind of an illusion. That's not really, none of that was really actually a match for me. But what is? Where do I go? How do I navigate through this, as this girl said? So this is very common to go through this. It's rarely helpful to hear, but it is true that you let go of what doesn't serve you and make room for what does. But here's the caveat. Here's where it's not exactly right. In the beginning, it's intense like that, where you all your interests, the music, the TV shows, your shopping preferences, your clothes, where you hang out, the sports you watch on TV and play, card game, all that becomes suddenly unfulfilling and devoid of any real meaning and substance. So there's like a loss and a void there. Same too with the relationships. You go through this process where you just suddenly wake up to all these different aspects of your consciousness, and you start to really reframe the way you identify yourself. And it can cause you to really feel isolated and alone and different. I'm different than these people. They're not going through this. They don't understand this. They're not like me. And the same effect happens on all levels with your job, your relationships, all that kind of stuff. So, but it's not forever. You're really not that different. Those things that you feel like are unfulfilling, you very well might go back to. It's just for a time. You feel this urgency to purify yourself on all levels. And you should. You should roll with it. It's a phase though. It's not forever. Goodbye for now is not goodbye forever. I found myself doing the exact same thing you talked about. I reduced myself to like nothing, like no interest except spiritual stuff. I was fascinated with reading about spiritual stuff and like eating healthy and dieting and purifying my body, but I didn't feel like I wanted to be around my friends or family. I moved, I wasn't working, and I felt the same desolate, lonely way and just forlorn, sort of like, I don't know where to go, I don't fit in, things are just dropping away. I went through that. And then I was very shocked and surprised when I found myself genuinely intrigued to go back and go back around people that I thought I didn't click with. Go back, and I started a gym. I got back into the personal training industry. And I started eating different foods. I was no longer like trying to be super ultra pure. And I started watching television shows that for a while I put away, and my interest was rekindled. And I found that I came back to them in a better way, and I was able to relate with things not the way I used to be, but in a different and enhanced way, with more acceptance and seeing the similarities, focusing on the similarities between me and other people rather than the differences. And out of that, even more importantly, was born a lot of new passions that surprised me. I had to let go of so much for a while, so aspects of myself could emerge from the darkness, like being a YouTube guy about the Ascension process. I could have never thought of that when I was so embedded in all those things that broke down for a time. There was no way I would have given myself the space for a lot of these truths about myself to bubble up and take footing. So allow it. It's okay. You're gonna get lost in a sense. You'll feel lost for a time, but you'll start to find yourself only by allowing yourself to get lost. So it's not about navigating through it. It's about going with it. You have to start going with the flow of what the energy in your life is doing. You'll start to decide and perceive varying degrees of resonance with everything. And if you feel like you're not resonating with something, don't force it because your mind tells you you need to. Like I spoke to a girl just the other day that's going through this. She's a younger girl, and all her girlfriends, they want to go out and party and get drunk and go to the bar. That's cool, that's fun, I did that. But anyway, she's like, I just want to sit home and read a book. That's what I want to do. But she sometimes feels guilty because like I'm being a hermit. Like I should be going out there, I should be more social. This is not healthy, this is not normal. I told her, yeah, it is for you. Let it happen. Let it go this way. You're not going to be isolated forever. But for right now, if that's what you really want to do, then do it. I felt a lot of guilt when I went through this phase. I really felt like you should be doing this. You need to be doing this. This is not normal. This is not natural. This is not healthy. This is unbalanced. And yet the energy was so obvious and blatant in my face saying, go ahead, try. Try to force yourself to do all these things that you know in your heart aren't relevant right now. But at the time, again, I felt a lot of guilt. I didn't really know where it was going. And that's what I want to kind of emphasize, that it's not going to always be like that. You're not going to always feel so like you got to isolate all the time. It can last a little while there. It lasts a few years for me, and even more, honestly. But now I'm visiting my hometown in Michigan. I'm hanging out with old friends, going around family. I don't look at them like different, like I'm the spiritual guy and they don't understand me. It's more like I see them different. I see them differently. I see them more the same. I see myself in them. Their flaws I can relate with because I have some of them too, or at least once did. And in this sort of like common ground that I can now focus on more rather than ignoring and focusing on the differences, I just focus my attention more on the common ground, and that just perspective, that choice of focus and perspective creates a very nice and harmonious experience, even with people who might be at a different vibration. I can see the joy in things that I once thought were inherently dark and bad. But that came with time. It wasn't like that for a while. For a while, I had to do the ultra pure thing, the isolation thing, the I don't know who I am and what I'm doing thing. I had to let that get to a point. So again, the new me could kind of come on board and take hold and emerge. So what I'm trying to say to you is it's normal to feel this way. Don't worry, don't think something's wrong. Don't feel obligated to go out there and do things that you don't really want to do. It's okay, as long as you're being honest with yourself. There's a difference between saying, I genuinely don't want to do this, versus I'm telling myself I don't want to do it only because it scares me and I'm just being kind of a wuss. You got to really be honest in that situation. But what you described, girl, is very normal. A lot of people watching this, I would imagine, can relate. And again, it comes to an end. I'm working with a client right now who's coming out of this phase where she, for a time, felt the isolation, felt just everything was kind of happening so fast, and she was losing herself. And there were times that I would talk to her and she was just really lost and struggling. But this last time I spoke to her, she was like, man, I'm realizing that I don't have to give it all up. It's not that I don't have to let go of everything. Some things I do have to, but I prefer to anyway. The things you have to let go of are the things you prefer to let go of and part with anyways. It works out that way. And the things you genuinely like, you'll realize, hey, you know what? I can still do them. I can still play with them. It's okay to have them in my life. I'm not just climbing this mountain to sit there by myself and look down at the world that I feel isolated from. It's not like that. There are just things in our life that don't resonate, and they got to go so that things that do resonate can come in. But it doesn't have to be a total overhaul. So anyways, I know I touched on many different aspects because I know there's a lot that comes with the state that she's in, the feeling lost and isolated, nothing's happening. It's tough and lonely and boring. I get it and I admit that, but it's a phase. It comes to an end, and out of that is a lot of awesomeness that's in your cards, and you might not be able to see it yet, but it's there and it's trying to come in. But you got to flow. You got to allow it to happen this way for a while. Okay, you're doing fine. Hang in there. I will speak to you all soon. And just a real quick heads up, guys. I am doing my questions differently. Right now, I kind of go around on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and it can be like it's just tough to find the right question. So what I do now is I have a link to all my videos where you can click it, and it'll take you to a page where you can submit your questions, and it'll tell you kind of how to submit them in a way that's easy for me to kind of glance through and pick the ones I want to talk about. So if you guys have questions for a video like this person, click that link there, and that's how you do it from here on out, okay? Have an amazing day, my friends. Thank you for everything. I will speak to you soon. Namaste.